What's going on, everybody? Levi here again from Digital Epidemic, coming at you today with a video about network cables, patch cables, how to make them, how they work, all the standards, numbers, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. All right, so today we're going to be making a Cat5e patch cable, and this applies to pretty much any of the categories, as far as I know of, all the way up to 7 at least. The same wiring, same all that stuff. You just have to pick more expensive cable, more expensive connectors. But same wiring diagram, same trusty crimper. So I'm going to start here by coming in about 1 inch and cutting it with the double blades set up here, and not crimping all the way down, but just I'm going to have to feel it out and feather it to just barely cut this outside sheath. Just barely cut into it, hopefully. Only got it to expose in one spot, but I don't want to cut all the way through and cut into the little tiny cables behind it. So it's kind of a game of guess and check here. Okay, we got it broken through. And now I'll inspect it, make sure I didn't just nick all those little tiny guys. So we got our 4 twisted pair here. So we're going to grab them and separate them into groups here. We're going to put browns on the far right. Let's get oranges on the far left. And blue in the middle and green in the middle. All right, so now we'll start untwisting the brown pair over here and get it to where solid brown is on the far right. We'll untwist the orange pair on the left here, and we'll put white with orange stripe on far left. Now we'll untwist the blue pair and put it to where the solid blue is on the left. You kind of just have to bend them left, right, forward, backwards until you can get them to kind of straighten out. Now the very last pair I'm going to do here is the green. I'm doing the T568B standard. It's kind of what I learned back when I was repairing computers at like 15. That standard has always worked for me, so I'm sticking to it. So now the greens split either side of the blue. So now we should have white with an orange stripe, orange, white with a green stripe, blue, white with a blue stripe, green, white with a brown stripe, brown. And now, once again, just got to grab them and start bending them back and forth, side to side, until they all want to sit nice and close next to each other in line. Like that. We'll add these 3. Pull it out a little ways from the sheath. And now grab our trusty clippers and use this time the side where the blade goes into a solid block. We'll stick that in there, leaving it just a little long there. Now, unfortunately, I've cut way too many things with this that maybe weren't even the right thing to be cutting with this. Made it a little dull. All right, but we got it. And we're going to grab one of our RJ45 connectors, double check that we've got the right color order still, and we do, and now you can see it going in there. Push it all the way home, and you can see the tips on the ends, make sure they're all the way to the back. and just double check that it's the right colors in there. And now if you look down here where it's crimped, where the machine's gonna grab that little part right there and force it down onto the outer sheeting, I cut it too long. So you actually want to come back out and take about 1/8 off the end, because this is too long, this much. So let's take about 1/8 off like that. Like that. Clean that up. Go ahead and double check. And we're good. All right, so now when we send that home, the sheeting is getting into that area that's going to be crimped down on, which is great. That's what we want. And we've got them all the way across the back side. So now we stick it in to the crimper and send that guy home. Awesome. There we go. Now we repeat for this side. So what I can tell you about the categories, as far as like category 5A of cable, Cat 5A, that was a very, very common cable when I was doing this as a teenager. It represented a gigabit network, and it's still super common today because that is still a ton faster than most wireless networks. It's not really till you get to Cat 6A cable that it jumps to the next potential speed of 10 gigabits per second, which is also where Cat 7 lives, in that same speed area. But for other categories above 5A, you're going to need different connectors than just these see-through plastic ones. You're going to need some kind of shielded connector. All right, green. So here's where we're making what's called a straight through cable, patch cable, which is the most common one because it's hooking up a whole bunch of computers through a central computer that's dispersing that information. Usually that central computer is either a server or a router, depending on what your network setup is like. But if you were just to hook up 2 computers ad hoc without any kind of router or anything, you would actually switch it. So on this end, we have our regular 568B wiring. On this side, you would swap the green and the orange. So right now, this is how I have this side, so it's going to be straight through. But if you wanted it to be an ad hoc cable, or a twisted, whatever, a 2-computer cable, you would switch green and orange. So since we're not doing that, let's just go ahead and start going to town. All right, you cooperate, mister. Bending and twisting. All right. All right, so we've got it pretty straight all the way out. So this time I'm going to hold it up to the side and figure out where I want to cut it. Right about there would be a good length. Put it in the cutters. Looking good. I'd say it's about 1/2 inch. Oh my gosh, it's time for a new blade. All these tools, all this stuff is going to be linked in the description if you just want to go shop on Amazon yourself and see it all there. But I've grabbed the best deals I could find for sure. I'll show you all that here in a minute. And crimp that side down. And we're good to go. Next thing I like to do is double check it works by plugging in a computer. And also I can show you the speed difference between Wi-Fi and Ethernet here and why you would want this thing. A lot of times Wi-Fi is super convenient. It really is, especially in this day and age with laptops and cell phones. It's nice to just be able to walk wherever in your house and hook up, but it's not the fastest thing. Definitely Ethernet still has it beat when it comes to speed. So let's go ahead and jump on to speedtest.net. And I'm going to see which network I'm on. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my 5G, 5 gigahertz wireless network here at the house. And click go. Let's see what kind of speeds we can get with this. And while that's doing that, I'm going to start hooking up our new cable we just made to the switch down here. All right, so it looks like we're getting 34.5 megabits per second down. Doing it with wireless. Go ahead and plug this in. So we got 34.5 down and about 6 up. The 24 millisecond ping. Get this thing to go ahead and go on, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn off wireless here. So I won't use any of the wireless network, just our Ethernet cable. Let's run it again. See just how much faster it is. While those tests are doing their thing, let's jump over here to the computer. I'll show you some of the cables you can get on Amazon. So it looks like 1,000 foot of Cat 5e you could pick up for about $45. 1,000 foot of Cat 6e would be $120. And if you really needed the speed and just wanted to future-proof the whole office, then 1,000 feet of Cat 7 would be $280. If you were going with just a Cat 5e, for the $45, you could get the cable connectors for $9 to get 100 of them. Or if you are going with the higher speed cable, you'd have to get something like this, which would be $23 for 30 pack. And it does come with these little boots. If you did want boots for the other one, you could get a whole mess of them for $7. And then if you needed a crimper, $30. There you go. With blades and even some connectors. All right, let's see how this guy did. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. 116 down. I think we were at 34 down on Wi-Fi, and that's why I still go with Ethernet over Wi-Fi when I need to move a ton of data. All right, well, there you go. Now you know how to make your very own patch cable. Till next time, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning in.